I'm Karla Nathan from Karla's Cottage, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of these little travel folders. I just made one for my trip, and it's very handy. I'm going to open it up. What I did was I downloaded all my travel information, folded it up, and put it for the days that I needed. Across the top I wrote the information, and then as I used it, I slid it into the other pocket. So there's two pockets here that will they'll keep you organized. And you know what? I'm not organized, so I really need something like this or I lose all my stuff. And the best thing to use for this is scrapbook paper. I love old vintage paper. That's my very favorite of anything, but it's too fragile. And you don't want to use anything that's really nice because these basically are pretty temporary because you stuff them in your purse or your bag. You don't want to use anything that you've spent a lot of money or time on. These are quick and simple and keep you organized on your trip, so it's easy. I got the heavy scrapbook paper, the kind that is printed on two sides on cardstock, and it held up very well. You can tell it's got a little beat up around the edges, but not bad. So, this is the big square. I don't know what this would be. 10 by 10?
12 by 12.
12 by 12. Thanks, Mary. And I started by folding up a pocket that was deep enough to hold my stuff, but I wanted it to be a length that, oh, this is shorter than the other one. Anyway, a length that my papers wouldn't stick out, so I'm going to make this a more shallow pocket. That'll work. And this one has a decorative bit there, so that's why I folded it that way. So you just fold it up and kind of burnish it with your fingernails across, and there's the pocket. Now, with this one I sewed it, and you could do that if you would like. I'm not a great sewer, but it kept it together. You could also glue, and you know what? I bet you could even make it and not even do either one. It would just, the folding it would hold it in place. I bet you could also take a stapler and just staple around along the edges to hold it together. Let me look at that one. Okay. So, I used my folded itinerary as a template. And see how well that fits in there? And use that size to show you how you're going to need, or to fold it to the size you need. So there I'll have one pocket, and then I'm going to make a second pocket and a flap over it to close it with, so that when it's all finished and folded together, that's what it looks like on the outside. Now, to keep it together, I just glued some ribbon on. I found some matching ribbon and used my favorite glue in the world, the Ultimate. It really holds things just like you think that it should. It has a good hold and will last all week. Of course, this was being pulled in and out of my purse all week and got a little beat up around the edges, but it held together just fine. Little glue all the way across the back, and then you don't go all the way to the edge because then when you tie it, you're pulling it loose and it's just going to rip, so you just need about an inch or so in, like that, and you can tie it down. And you know what? You could be finished right then and there if that's all you want to do to it. With mine, I added some heavier ribbon on the edge because I thought it might help it from falling apart, but it didn't make any difference at all, so there's no reason to do that. Although it is a little prettier. You could always trim it out. This ribbon here is a vintage ribbon, and it's kind of more stiff. It's velour and it's a stiff florist ribbon. And if you are going to trim the edges, I would say use a heavy ribbon, or if not, that's all you need and it's done.
Thanks, Karla.